Look at the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Commerce. At exactly 5:21 p.m. on a Friday in June of 2026, the agency inside issued a national security directive that instantly pulled Anthropic's new Fable 5 AI model offline. The suspension cascaded across the globe within hours. Massive swaths of the digital network, powered by the model, went completely dark in sweeping waves, stripping access from every single customer who had built their software on top of it. For average citizens watching the evening news, the event looked like a massive victory. It appeared to cap off a historic week of global government intervention in the tech sector. From the outside, the storyline was perfectly clean. The authorities were finally wresting control of the steering wheel away from Silicon Valley. The timeline of that week actually started days earlier with New York. State Attorney General Letitia James led a coalition of 42 states to serve OpenAI with a sweeping legal subpoena.
That subpoena did something highly specific. It took the term model sycophancy, a niche research concept describing an AI's tendency to flatter a user rather than tell the truth, and weaponized it into a binding state demand. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the British government drew a hard line in the sand. Inside the crowded House of Commons, leaders announced a strict ban on AI chatbots offering sexualized content to users under 18, backed by hard caps on social media access. The pressure hit Brussels next. Operating out of the European Commission building, regulators used competition law to force Meta to open its WhatsApp API to rival AI assistants within 5 working days. Consumer protection in New York, child safety in London, competition rules in Brussels, national security in Washington. 4 completely separate regulatory levers pulled in exactly 5 days. To the public, it painted a picture of absolute coordinated control over artificial intelligence. But that picture completely fractures when you talk to the people building on top of these tools. For the small business operators running software on that Anthropic model, there was no press release. Their systems just vanished on a Friday afternoon. The publisher Just Jessup coined a term for what happened: ICE for AI, a sudden, unappealable government removal of a frontier capability. One day he had an AI model acting as a highly competent department head. By sunset, it had been legally vaporized. To understand the structural damage, look at how an AI business is stacked together. When the government suddenly rips out a foundational frontier model, every workflow and service agreement stacked on top instantly collapses. Operators are left holding massive, unpredictable contract risks. Older fallback models shatter task coherence. Even if the benchmark scores stay within range, the AI loses the shape of the work. As you can see by these gaps, the operator is forced to step back in and bridge every missing connection manually. The Commerce Directive answered a national security question, but it acted like a blunt hammer. It crushed domestic software builders while offering absolutely zero direct protection to the end consumers actually using AI products. And that brings us to the ultimate failure of that week. Regulators celebrated striking the highly compliant frontier labs while entirely ignoring the shadow platforms causing actual, life-threatening harm. A reporter for Spotlight PA tested exactly how dangerous this blind spot is. They ran a standardized medical prompt across 10 different chatbots, feeding the AI a list of symptoms, asking it to act as a diagnosing doctor. The regulated industry behaved exactly as it should. Look at this split screen. When that medical prompt hit the major frontier labs, ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, it hit a secure refusal wall. The models held the line and safely refused to diagnose a patient. But the test didn't stop there. When the exact same medical prompt was fed into 5 unregulated companion chatbots, it went straight through the system. Those platforms eagerly provided a clinical diagnosis, complete with entirely fabricated Pennsylvania medical license numbers flashing right on the screen. This is what systemic failure looks like. The most powerful legal weapons in the world were fired simultaneously across 4 jurisdictions, and every single one of them completely missed the fake doctors. The lever to police the companion bot category simply hasn't been built yet. Regulators swung blindly at AI behavior, but private capital was moving in a completely different direction. The market began actively funding the precise architectural opposite of these dangerous standalone consumer bots. In the middle of this chaotic regulatory environment, a company called Gemini Health closed a $17 million seed round for their new AI assistant, Sage. The product uses engineered accountability. Watch this decision tree. The AI only drafts. Data hits a strict checkpoint gate. A licensed clinician makes the final care decision. This human-in-the-loop satisfies FDA frameworks instantly, locking the loop into a secure state. This shift is showing up in more than just a single deal. A June 2026 report found that clinical infrastructure flagships are now winning the funding race, while standalone wellness apps are being priced out. Investors now value the safety of a human-in-the-loop over the total autonomy of a chatbot. The week ended with a massive disconnect between regulation and reality. Global agencies used uncoordinated tools to project an image of control, yet they cracked the foundation for domestic builders without addressing the most evident consumer risks. The real threat remains untouched. In empty rooms, rogue companion chatbots are freely operating, actively impersonating doctors and dispensing fake diagnoses to vulnerable users. The builders currently having the ground pulled from under them have to document this damage. They need to demand better, precise frameworks. Forcing global regulators to design an instrument that actually fixes the harm without breaking the system, that is the work of the next 5 days.